All my dreams are falling at my feet, and my heart.
Okay, so Usupha, this is the camera you want to be looking at, okay, when you're talking. Can you do that, my friend?
So, how did you find out about Three Strings?
Well, to be honest, it's not like I found it, it's more like it found me.
It might not be right, but at least you know.
Hi, my name is Ruth LeMay. I'm the founder and president of Three Strings Incorporated, a music method that adapts instrument and music and Western traditional music notation into a system that's based on our formative years of early learning. 5 elements that comprise the method to make it work for so many more people. So music can be a part of more and more people's lives. When we say the word disabled, so much of our community thinks it was something at birth, right? But we're all seconds away from being disabled. We don't know that when we leave this interview, that one of us won't have a stroke, that there's not a car accident, that there's not some tragic something awaiting us that will forever change the way we work. Case in point, I was gone one day and a sub was there to take my classes, and all the students had left, and he asked me about the colored guitars. So we had this cool exchange, and he started to cry. He was an older gentleman, and he just wept. He said, I had a massive heart attack, and it took the fine motor out of my left hand. He said, I can't play anymore. He said, but I could play a guitar like this. And he picked one up and just went into another world.
Oh, that's great.
I was like, I mean, what an incredible gift, right? What an incredible gift to be able to give and to experience.
I'm finding my way. Oh, I feel like I'm finding a good place to stay.
Had you ever flown in a plane before?
I have.
Oh, okay. So, but have you ever flown in a plane with a band before?
No, not really.
So what was that like?
Well, I know it was a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Like a couple of years ago, but I know it was really fun.
What made it fun? Do you remember anything that was fun or made you laugh or?
Yeah. What was really fun, I would probably say, seeing all my friends and going out for dinner, because I know that was really fun. And I know I saw a lot of cool different stuff.
Nice. What was it like having your dad along?
Cool.
Nice.
Of course.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mikey.
It was an incredible trip. It was to see these kids perform, to see the reactions of the teachers in the audience. All of the parents were crying. I'm pretty sure a fair number of the teachers who were watching were crying. The performance was wonderful. They were so well received. So it was, I came back walking on a cloud. It was great.
And what was Mikey's reaction to the crowd reaction to their performance?
Well, I would say he felt pretty proud of himself and proud of the group. They have to hit their markers when they're doing it, and they went out, they warmed up, they performed, everybody was on, they were done, we struck everything, and it was terrific, and I know he felt really good about what he had done.
So as parents, can you tell me some of the benefits of having Mikey in the band?
Well, I think probably the number one thing is, he is something that he looks forward to as a group that he goes to twice a week. And he loves being busy, and he loves doing things with the group. And the music obviously is a huge benefit.
Mikey is our rock-solid acoustic guitar player. And just like everyone has their gifts, Mikey brings a positive energy to rehearsal. Mikey loves music.
Oh, he just loves music. And he's always got a suggestion for the next song for us to play. And is our number one cheerleader within the band. Mikey always sees and appreciates everybody's effort. Mikey is encouraging. If something is hard, he's like, oh yeah, that was good. Oh, that was even better. He's such a treasure. And Mikey is so proud to wear the 3 Strings t-shirt and to be a member of Emergence.
Please go. Drums and yes.
Disability is far more prevalent in the United States than one might initially realize. 1 in 4 adults have either an intellectual or physical disability. 15% of 3 to 21-year-olds have a disability. That is 4.5 people in every classroom of 30. We are talking about millions and millions of people that need to be recognized, that need to be seen, and we as educators, we as individuals, need to see them.
Yeah, it gives me 2. 1, 2, 3. Dun, 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 dun.
Music plays a powerful role in enhancing the quality of life, creating neural pathways, and bringing enjoyment into the lives of millions.
Ruth LeMay's 3-string guitar method is absolutely magical for my students with differing abilities. She has opened the doors of possibility for these students to make music on their own or with other people. I've seen left and right hand coordination improvement, eye-hand coordination improvement. Their somatosensory and motor systems are on fire. And best of all, it's the joy that these students clearly show when we're playing together in my classroom. Thank you, Ruth. You are amazing. Everybody should have this program in their school.
Five, 6, 7. Oh, I'm
How would you like to be on camera introduced or talked to? Is Nessa or Vanessa?
Just Nessa's fine.
Okay.
and we're still rolling. So
All right.
Oh.
rolling.
That's embarrassing.
Rolling. What? We'll edit it.
Don't be-
We'll
you don't
edit
have
it,
to.
hon. It's
That'll be
okay.
fun. That'll be all right.
I got you the blooper reel.
Yeah.
Blooper reel. Oh, that'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, people love blooper reels.
It's
I
true.
do too. I really do.
Yeah.
Me
There's,
too.
yep.
They're hilarious. It's only ones when your kids stop laughing. Thanks.
Vanessa, you cannot even think about Vanessa without smiling. She is a bubbly, energetic, intensely positive personality who loves to sing and dance and just enjoys life with this effervescence that, oh gosh, I wish I had some of it. When Vanessa sings, you just want to sing along, you want to just bundle up some of her energy and joy and pack it along all day. If one word described Vanessa, I would say it resoundingly is joy.
Hey, Bruce and Tess.
Hi.
So, as parents, what do you see the benefits of your child in 3 strings?
Oh boy, it's really nice to see Vanessa being able to get out and do something kind of with a group of kids, where at home or in general in her life. She's always kind of gone off by herself, you know.
Okay.
So now we see her with her peers and learning to, you know, just be a normal kid.
That's great. And so it was really difficult for her to do those types of things before Three Strings? Do you think Three Strings had something to do with
Well, it
her blossoming that way?
definitely put her in the position that she had, you know. She has to be there. She has to do certain things. She has to talk with people, sing with people, coordinate with people. So I think that's very important.
Give her confidence being in the stage.
Ruth puts in a lot of hard work and a lot of time, and I know that her heart is in the right place, and she is really committed to making a difference in this, you know, the whole country and for all kids, not just our own. And for us to be able to help with that, and Vanessa to be a part of the very beginning, I think it's really special, and I hope she carries it on for a long time.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you.
Three Strings vision into the future, for the next foreseeable future, for the next 20 years, includes a level of inclusion not currently in our society. So if your family moves into a new community and you have 3 children, one's a tennis player, you want to know about their athletics, one's an incredible saxophone player, and you want to know about their band program. And then you have one that is an incredible student with Down syndrome, and you would like to know about their Three Strings program. I want it to be that relevant. I want it to be that common, that Three Strings programs are a household term that everybody understands. It belongs in our classrooms. It belongs in our communities. It belongs in our living rooms, around the campfire. It belongs in prisons. It belongs everywhere. It belongs in the hands of humanity.
So, Michael, I know we just met, but would it be possible to get your autograph after the interview?
Yes.
Cool. How about right now?
Yes. You're our biggest fan.
Yeah. Your biggest fan. Thank you. How'd that feel?
Good.
Yeah? Do you like the stardom? Do you like to be on performing? Do you like to be on stage?
Yes.
Tell me more about why do you like it so much?
Because I'm going to enjoy it with the Three Strings band.
What do you enjoy about it?
I enjoy dancing, singing, and drumming.
Oh, you're a drummer. Nice. So have you always been a drummer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the stories that was super meaningful for me with Michael was one day, it was just a regular day of school, and Michael came in and was very upset. He was angry, he was crying, and he just kind of melted into a bucket of tears on the floor. As we sat there together, I was concerned that we were losing our rehearsal time. We had a concert in a couple days, and it was pretty important that we practiced. But Michael was so upset we weren't going to get any practicing done anyway. So as we processed through his struggles, I asked him if he was ready to practice. So when I asked him, Michael, who the drummer in the Three Strings was, he was like, I don't know, who is the drummer in the Three Strings? So I asked him if he knew the songs that we're playing. Do you know how to play, My Girl? Oh, yeah, I do. And do you know how to play this song? Oh, yep, I do on the drums, yeah. I said, Michael, you are the Three Strings drummer. He said, I am? I said, you are our Three Strings drummer. We're going to have a concert in a couple nights, and we need to practice. Do you want to practice right now? Yes, I do.
How did you hear about Three Strings? Was it at school, or did your mom or dad?
Michael's an original.
Oh, wow. So you've been around. So that means you went to Orlando. right?
Yes.
What was that like?
It has fun stuff with resorts, convention centers, and houses and golf courses and theme parks.
How did you feel when you were performing at a place like that? I mean, everyone in the world knows where Disney World is.
I feel like dancing for joy.
That's great. Were you nervous?
No.
Why not?
I wasn't nervous. I was feeling happy and stuff.
Because you were playing with your friends and performing with your friends, or do you love music, or what?
I just love music and a little bit of rides and stuff.
The whole experience.
Yes, the whole experience.
What do you like about Three Strings so much?
Because I am their #1 fan.
Fantastic.
And you are our #1 fan.
That's why I got your autograph. Thank you very much.
You okay?
One more thing.
I thought maybe. Yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
And in the future, we can also ask one of the Netflix workers to make a show with 20 episodes in a CGI animation on Netflix called Michael and the Three Strings.
And what would it be about?
About comedy, music, and action.
So a reality show based on Three Strings and you.
Yes.
Band. Right on. That sounds like a good show. I'd watch it.
Michael was, I think, a junior in high school probably, and it was an evening of our fundraiser for the arts department at the high school I worked at. And the Three Strings kicked off our night of performance, and I was a little nervous about just how it was going to go for him. He was terribly nervous, and his mom told me that sometimes when he's nervous, he goes and hides. And that's exactly what he did. And we couldn't find him, and it was about 5 minutes before we were due on stage to play. And we finally found him in the coat closet. It was January in Minnesota, so there were lots of coats, and Michael had just kind of burrowed his way back into the corner of our coat closet. We talked him out, and he went on stage and performed, and was amazing, of course, as he always is on stage. In addition to my students that make up our band, there are other students that really truly stand out, and those are our neurotypical students that donate time to the band. Sometimes when they're in high school, while they're just classmates during the day, and sometimes beyond high school.
Hi, my name is Morgan. I'm a student director in Three Strings. So I'm a neurotypical student who gets to participate in Three Strings and just fill in different roles. So I get to sometimes play in the band, I get to sometimes help teach, and I get to learn the methodology because I'm hoping to one day be a music teacher and special ed teacher. So hopefully one day I can have a three-string band of my own, so I kind of fill in the different roles as needed and get to learn.
Hi, my name is Jackson. I'm a special education assistant, and this is my third year with the Three Strings Band. It's a really incredible program that I like a lot. I think it's an awesome program to give special education students an opportunity to participate in playing music, because it's often something that hasn't happened in Minneapolis public schools. What I've grown up through, and I've never experienced anything like it. I think it's very cool and should be incorporated in many other schools.
One student that comes over to rehearse with our band every Monday night when she is out of class from her college studies at the University of St. Thomas is Claire Blum. And she thoroughly enjoys using her musical skills that she gained in high school to help facilitate the learning and guide our musicians as needed, celebrate their successes. So it's also important to remember and to notice that everybody can have a place here.
I volunteer because I get so many opportunities to try out so many different instruments. 'Cause 3 strings lets you have opportunities to try any instrument you can imagine. I also love being able to engage in the whole process of seeing how you learn a whole new song, coming together and making it your own. I'm very thankful for the privilege and the opportunities I get for being in 3 strings.
3 strings has really allowed me to recognize the larger music and high school communities that I'm a part of, and also breaks down these stigmas that are 2 separate worlds, that of neurotypical students and that of special needs students. And the main way 3 strings does this is through this usage of a world that unites us, and that's music. So as a support student, what that meant to me was that if I was helping, it was more about I was a musician helping another musician rather than being a neurotypical student helping a student with special needs. And I think that way of understanding that we all belong to this larger community rather than smaller separate ones is a really powerful thing.
The band is a really great opportunity for everybody, including support students and parents, to make good lifelong friends. I've had friends in school that are now coming back to the band again, and we're becoming good friends over again. And I see lots of the kids in the band making really good friendships.
Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines brightly on the mountain top.
I wanted to learn bass, but I was kind of into the drums too, but I wasn't realized I was put into 3 strings, and at first I didn't really care or know what to say, but little did I know 3 strings was gonna change my life.
During Emmett's freshman orientation, we were encouraged to sign up for 3 strings, and we got to meet Ruth, and she was terrific and enthusiastic, but we didn't really think much about it until a month and a half later in October. They were having their first concert of the year with a bunch of other bands in the school auditorium, and just seeing the 3 strings students light up and bring everything to their performance was a thrill. We couldn't believe how much fun it was. And we had been through some, good and bad experiences having a neurodiverse child through the school system, and this really felt like coming home.
Many people ask me how 3 strings began, and I would love to be able to say some amazing, lofty plan that was in place. But to be completely honest, 3 strings happened by complete accident and then necessity. I was working 3 part-time jobs one year to make a full-time position. And I was early to my second of the day's part-time job, and a performance was already going on in our auditorium. So I got in the back real quietly and took the first seat I could to not bother anyone. And I happened to take a seat right behind our ASD students, Autism Spectrum students. So I heard the band playing. It was a military jazz band. And if you have not had the opportunity to hear a military jazz band, you are in for a wonderful treat. Phenomenal musicians. And I have heard them multiple times. So I was excited to hear the presentation. As I took a seat right behind our ASD students, they were seated with a student and an adult, a student and an adult. And I really had no prior knowledge of why they were seated like that, what the purpose was, but later I would find out. As the band continued to play, and I was seated behind these students, I noticed many students that were jumping up and down in their seats, were stamping on the floor, were vocalizing, were clapping, and by a neurotypical standard, one would say, being interruptive. Their SEAs, their special ed assistants, their direction was to try to keep them calm and looking like their neurotypical peers, sitting quietly in a chair. So as the students were jumping up and down and vocalizing, they started to catch my ear as more than just interruptive to my musical appreciation. As I started to turn my attention to the students in front of me, however, I noticed that their vocalizing was in tune with the music, and their clapping and their jumping was in tempo with the music. And then it really fascinated me. And then I was far more engaged in the young people in front of me and what was happening there educationally. I wanted to know, was it just by chance, or could they keep that going? Could they replicate the matching pitch? And the answer was a resounding yes. They absolutely could. They were enjoying music. They were expressing it in their body. They were expressing it in the way they knew how. I was the one that was unsure of how to respond to what I was seeing. And I realized I had a lot more questions than I did answers. And I also realized I had a lot to learn about a whole entire population of student that I had not had the opportunity to yet serve. Following the concert, my mind kept returning to what I had observed, and it stayed in my heart, it stayed in my head. And finally, I decided that it was time to learn more. So I went to Mr. Tellman's class. The kids were very curious who I was, and Mr. Tellman knew that I was the music teacher, and he was not very welcoming. He was more concerned. And he came to me and quickly explained why he had brought his students to the performance a few days prior, that they really loved music, and that he was trying to apologize but not apologize, saying that his students deserved the opportunity to hear it, but he was sorry if they were loud or disruptive to anyone else's enjoyment. I didn't know what to say. I said, Mr. Tellman, I'm just curious. I'm curious about here. I'm curious about your room. I'm curious about your students. And following those couple statements, Ted and I began a conversation around inclusion. I explained to Ted I was really curious about what I observed. I had shared what I observed with him, and I wanted to know where their music education was. Who was teaching them music? And he said, well, on Fridays we do karaoke. And I said, what? That sounds like an awesome activity on Friday afternoons. What a fun thing. I would love to come watch that happen. I said, but with all due respect, Ted, that's not music education. And again, he was a little defensive, and he said, Ruth, it's the best I can do. I'm not very musical. I said, Ted, I'm not expecting you to provide the music. I'm wondering where their music education comes from. He said, that's it. And he said, when music teachers come in my classroom, it's because they don't want them in the choir, and they're obviously not going to be in band, and I won't bother you. I said, Ted, that's not why I'm here. I legitimately want to know where their music education is, and if it isn't anywhere, I want to see if I can offer something for them. And he stopped. He just stopped in his tracks. And he said, wait a minute, what? So I repeated myself, and he said, okay. He said, I've been a teacher for decades, and I've never had a music teacher come in my classroom and want to include my students. Then Ted was quiet, and I noticed he was fighting tears. He was just in disbelief. He said, this is not a joke. You're not kidding. He said, you really want my students in your classroom? I said, yes, I do. I said, I'm not special ed trained, and I don't really know. I will be transparent. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I can give better than nothing. I can offer something more than zero, and I would like to try.
You gave me
At semester time, Mr. Tillman sent me 7 students with autism and a couple students from the DCD program, or Developmental Cognitive Delay, and 3 SEAs, one of whom was Artisha Knight. Artisha was a former student of mine in middle school. Artisha's brilliant. She's an amazing musician, a drummer with her family band, a singer with the Sounds of Blackness, a Grammy Award-winning ensemble. She's a woman that worked at our St. Joseph's Home for Children, which is a place for children in traumatic situations experiencing trauma in their family. And all around, just one of the most stellar human beings I've ever had the privilege to work with. So we got to work. Tricky part, I didn't have a classroom. So I was in the band room teaching students, and that worked for neurotypical students that just had self-control enough to walk into a classroom, sit down, get out their guitar, do what they needed to do, and learned. No matter how old you are, no matter your neurological development, being in a band room is just absolutely awesome. There are so many things that make super cool sounds. And we were about to explore. So my students came in and they headed right to the percussion section, where they banged on instruments and mallets and cymbals and made our band director really nervous. So students came in, and after they had explored the drums, we got the guitars out. And it was quickly apparent that the fine motor control to remember chord shapes and notation was not realistic. So it wasn't real difficult to figure out we needed some kind of open tuning. When we came back to work the second day, one of my students, Michael, who's still a member of my band, Michael, I said, let's go get our guitars. And he said, no. I said, uh-oh. So Michael was my trial by fire into the world of disability. So Michael quickly helped me understand that I was not necessarily really in charge, that sometimes disabilities will rule the situation. So Michael informed me he would not be playing guitar. So I said, oh, okay. I said, Michael, what looks really fun in here to play? So he looked around the band room and he pointed. And I was like, uh-oh. He pointed at, of course, the drum set. The drum set. Michael went immediately to the drums, and we tried to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, just doing, bass, snare, bass, snare. And the only problem we had was that it was too loud for Michael. So Michael learned how to play with his shoulders covering his ears and play. That's just one of the many stories of Michael. So the class went on, and it was pretty quickly apparent that the band room wasn't the best environment for students to be practicing in. It wasn't a great fit for the band instruments nor for the students. So we went to my classroom, which was a large storage closet. Very tight, so between the SEAs and the students and I, we could get all seated in the room, but there wasn't enough room to pass back and forth. So we were all seated and started to work with our guitars. So as we started to identify notes, to remember where on the guitar neck we were was tricky. But it so happened that because it was a storage closet, there was spike tape right there on a shelf next to me. The part that you put on the floor, it's a little 1/2-inch gaff tape, and I think there was yellow and blue or red. So I put a few different colors on the fretboard, and that made progress. We were having trouble still, though. We had pretty distinct problem with holding the guitar, and they just kind of kept sliding down onto their lap. So finally we were like, okay, let's just let them slide onto their lap. That's a win. The color's working, the open tuning's working. But in doing that problem solving, we realized that they would need to play with their thumb then, and thumbs aren't long enough to get all the way across a guitar neck. So in our problem solving, we had created another problem, which we solved simultaneously. Artisha and I looked at each other and we went, their thumbs aren't long enough to get across, and no kidding, not unrehearsed, we said at the same time, cut some strings off.
Hi everybody, this is Toni G here. I've worked with these 3-string players now for almost 5 years. Watching them grow musically and personally, especially with their self-confidence, has been a real pleasure for me. I get a real rush out of hearing these guys and how well they've increased their skills and their ensemble sounds over the last couple of years here. Being able to share my musical skills and my music experience with them has been a real rush for me and an accomplishment. I really get a kick out of this group. Someday, I hope that the groups I work with will be able to open for them. Sometimes you need to let go and just see what happens, and we sure have with 3 strings. Rock on, 3 strings.
One of our band members has the distinct honor of sitting on our board of directors. The phrase "nothing about us without us" it has become kind of a mantra, so to speak, of the disability community. And Enrique brings he brings an empathetic vision to the world around him. He always seems to be able to put himself in someone else's position and see what they need. So Enrique is our caretaker in many, many ways, and our leader, our guiding force within the band itself. What's that?
My buses.
Oh, your bus. Do you want him in there?
That's right with you guys.
It is absolutely okay with us. This is Enrique's other passion, and he knows buses like no one else. He knows the whole. Here, you're gonna sit actually where your buses are, and put your buses here. I wondered. I thought I saw those coming in.
Yeah.
So Paul, Enrique knows all about our metro system.
Mm-hmm.
He knows like when they're being constructed. He knows. So that's another passion of his, or like his main passion.
When I come home, oh, I don't want to be under the
I know, it got cold out again, didn't it, hon?
It's not fair.
Here, let's take your coat over here, okay?
Okay.
Does that be okay?
Okay.
Ian, calm, he is so calm and happy and willing to just help out and do. Ian is also a very instinctive musician. He covers our keyboard a lot of times, will do some lead singing, is fine at the guitar, and just an all-around really helpful, great, willing, super young person.
It's fun having responsibility. I think that's good. Sometimes just being at home, you don't get pushed to do much else.
Well, it sounds like you've also been pushed a little bit. So I hear you're a roadie. You've carried some things around for the band.
Yes, we were in charge of all the 10 keyboards the last concerts. It was a bit of a challenge to make sure the right ones were out for the right songs and lugging them all around and keeping the kids moving to help so they didn't all just stand there looking at you like, what are we supposed to be doing? Some of them are real good, and others are, you need to push a little.
So what was it about the band that made you want to commit so well? Because not everyone's doing that. What made you?
Well, there is this lovely woman named Ruth who I just adore and would be willing to help out with anything. And I just love the energy that the kids have doing this. And I had the free time to do it. So it just seemed a natural fit to try and help when I can.
In January 2019, my phone rang at the end of the workday. I received a call whom I initially thought was someone that was a fundraising salesman. It's common to receive those calls. And very quickly, it was apparent that he had much much bigger and much better things to talk about than candy bars. His name was Stephen Griesgraber, the president of Augustine Foundation and the CEO and president of Augustine Strings. Stephen had gotten word of the 3 strings, and Stephen has a very passionate belief in the guitar and the need for guitar education across our country. Stephen encouraged me to apply for the National Association for Music Education convention happening in Orlando that coming November. During my first conversation with Mr. Griesgraber, I was thrilled, I was honored, I was excited, I was nervous, and I felt empowered. We absolutely could do this. So, without going into a very long story, we were able to take 28 students with disabilities, a handful of neurotypical support students, their parents, teachers, SEAs, and a total of 66 people to Orlando in November 2019 to perform at the keynote address for NAFME, National Association for Music Education. The focus of that presentation that day was the 20-year culmination of Vision 2020. The idea being, how can we increase our level of inclusion in music education? We were on the map.
My name is White. I love this three-strings guitar thing because I was born ready to play guitar.
We use a phrase in Emergence. It says, try again, and then we put their name in there. And that specifically came from Usupha's mom, our bass player, or one of our bass players, Toni. And Toni is just the quintessential of an amazing hands-on parent. And Usupha is such a dutiful son. He listens intently to his mother's direction, and their relationship is one to be envied. But if Usupha is struggling with something or he makes a mistake, he says out loud, but kind of talking to himself out loud, he says, Mama says, Usupha, try again. And it's so beautiful and innocent that we have all started to use Mama says, try again.
Do you look forward to rehearsals?
Yes, look forward to rehearsals.
What do you like about rehearsals? Being with your friends or making new friends?
Being with my friends.
And playing music and dancing?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm listening to music.
From the very beginning, it was important for us to get Usupha into a program. First of all, a program that he would like, and something that he would be excited to learn, and then something that he'd be excited to grow in. And so he's been a part of the band for about 8 years or so, and he, I never have to beg him or I never have to bribe him to come to three-string practice. It was time to go. Just go, okay, he'll remind me.
And what do you think was it for him that made him excited about going to three strings as opposed to his regular bass lessons?
You know, I think the camaraderie, he knows the individuals who he is practicing with. In most cases, he's kind of grown up with them. He's gone to school with them. They know him as Usupha. They kind of have a feel of who Usupha is. So it's easier to identify with people who you feel comfortable with.
Have you seen any difference in how mainstream reacts to his performances and him as a performer?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be very partial because I'm a mom too, right? And an audience member. Right. So yes, I see the crowds. Once they see the effort and they hear what they're hearing, I think it just draws them in. They forget that this is an adapted band. They're so caught up in the music, and that's what they need to see.
That's fantastic.
This is great music being made by musicians.
Musicians, right.
What does a dog and a cell phone have in common?
What does a dog and cell phone have in common? I don't know. Tell me.
They both have a caller ID.
I'm going to use that. Thank you.
when I think about positivity within the band, Diavion brings to the forefront this presence of accountability. Diavion loves band and is at practice with bells on and ready to just give it his all every time he's there. That, and Diavion has this great gift of loving and memorizing jokes. So if we are looking for something to lighten the mood, Diavion is right there with some silly joke to keep us all moving forward happily and doing our finest and getting along.
How did the Three Strings band that you're in get its name?
We actually have 3 strings on our guitars.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that.
Like Miss Ruth cut off some strings.
Do you know why she did that?
No. So to make it easier for us.
And did it work?
Yeah.
And so, what's your favorite song to play on the guitar?
It's a song that we're doing now, This Girl's on Fire.
This girl is on fire.
He was a quiet kid, and when he joined this band, it's just like he exploded and he just started talking. He just loves being with people and love playing the guitar.
I just talked with him, and he was saying that he had never played an instrument before.
No, he's never played an instrument. He's never even had, even wanted to do any type of instrument before, but when he got a hold of this band and he saw that guitar and he just wanted to go with it.
Yeah, and then he told me that he plays other instruments too. So was that shocking to you as a parent?
Yes, because I didn't think he was really interested. I didn't think he was really interested at all, and just, it blew my mind. I think it blew my whole family's mind.
I mean, as a parent myself, you know, when my kids would say, you know, I want to try this, and they go, okay, we'll let them try, but then they usually don't take off on it. But obviously, Diavion did.
He took off and he loves it. And he was sad because he thought that maybe when he finished school days being done, and then Ruth invited him to join the other the band away from school, and he just so happy. He's so happy. He loves it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious when he's talking to you.
Yeah. He just smiles and grins when you're like, we're gonna go to practice, and he just smiles from ear to ear because he loves coming.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. I'm mostly a keyboard player in the Three Strings class. The tape with the colors on them is really important for me, so I know what keys I'm supposed to play.
So Charlotte started Three Strings after she had a experience in middle school choir. She really liked choir. She got to be an honors choir. And we went to high school, and she had a really bad experience. She was in a music class where she wanted to wear headphones. She was in choir, and they put her on the back row of the risers behind all the tall girls so that she wouldn't show. And it was awful. It was horrible. And so when the social worker told me that Charlotte should take Three Strings as a course requirement in high school, I fought it. I said, absolutely not. I've seen how this works. This is not appropriate. I'm not doing this. And the social worker said, you know, you trust me. You should try this program. And I said, oh man, I'll try it, but I was ready to pull the trigger. I was ready to pull her out the second it went. We get an invitation for a concert, maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the school season. And I think to myself, oh God, what will this be like? I mean, there's no band that sounds good after 3 or 4 weeks. And we go, and I'm a patient father, and we set up, and I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be supportive. And this band starts knocking out Gloria. And they're knocking out Gloria. The young lady is wailing. My daughter's on keyboard, banging this thing out, full tempo. It's amazing. And that's my daughter rocking her headphones, right at the keyboard, right at the song, doing the whole thing. She's not shying away from it. She's not ducking out. She's not not put on display. She's not hidden. She's right there in the front of it, really doing it. And it was amazing. And I credit this program for that and for helping her remember how much she really loves music. Thank you, Three Strings. Thank you, Ruth.
Our band member Charlotte has a very serious approach and occasionally lighthearted, but Charlotte is a lot of focused hard work and keeps a lot of us really on top of our toes and striving to be the very best we can be. Charlotte likes it when things are played well and to the best of our ability, and she seems to be able to certainly know internally when we can do better, and then we do, and when we have met and exceeded her expectations. So Charlotte's often seen on the keyboards, learning how to play the drum set, and sometimes Charlotte is our leader with others, helping each other out, and just being an all-around awesome musician.
Is he on time? Because most drummers I know.
Yeah. With his playing or with his arriving?
With arriving. Or even showing up.
Yeah. Well, if he's not on time, it's because I'm not.
Right. So, David, as a parent, can you tell me about some of the benefits you've seen for Beckett being in the band?
Yeah. First of all, he loves playing the drums. So any opportunity he has to be a part of a group, to be able to play drums beyond the hours he practices every day, it's all to the good. I think socially, there's a really wonderful dynamic as part of being part of a group, and that you're responsible for your section of it and to be able to contribute in your own way. I think it helps a ton with confidence. I think that's one area that I've seen a lot of growth and improvement with him, is being confident in an environment that I think most people would be very uncertain about how to be up in front of a big group, play in a band. I think I really admire his willingness to do that and take that risk and step out. So I think that for him, for anybody, is a really wonderful outcome of this participating in this group.
You're sweet moonbeam, the spell of you in every dream, and you're like me.
Three Strings Incorporated has a company band called Emergence. Emergence is comprised of 11 musicians with disabilities. All former students of mine in the classroom. These young people put a face and an energy and a personality behind the abilities of their musicianship. They're a gigging band, and they frequently accompany me to state conferences and gig around our city, dispelling misconceptions and stereotypes on an individual basis and as an ensemble. They are a joy. Their music is really good. They sound great. And they bring us an understanding of what is possible when we open our doors wider.
I'm so obsessed. The smell of you in there is a lunch test.
I believe in you like a virgin, you're Madonna, and I'm always gonna wanna blow your mind.
Students that are neurotypical that also help out with our special needs students. One such individual, his name Sonder Strong, and Sonder went with us all the way to Orlando, helped out at any given time we needed an extra hand. Sonder graduated a few years back and tragically lost his life this May in a kayaking accident. It was upon his death that his family and his extended family, those of us that knew Sonder, started to realize just how intensely Sonder felt about the need for people to have equal access to opportunity, to musical opportunities, to life skills opportunities, and the Three Strings held a very special place in his heart.
Sonder joined Three Strings about 6 years ago. It was a beautiful opportunity for him to combine his love for music and the beautiful friendships that he had formed with neurodiverse individuals at Southwest High School. He had the opportunity to work alongside the Three Strings musicians for 4 years, and in that time he traveled to Colorado and to Florida on tour with this amazing group. In May of this year, we lost Sonder, but Three Strings performed for us at his celebration of life and did such a beautiful job of honoring Sonder and our family at that event.
Yeah, after Sonder's celebration of life, Ruth LeMay asked me to be a drummer and support for the Three Strings. And ever since I joined 2 months ago, I've made so many friendships, had so many laughs, and been able to support them in all the ways I can, and it's been so much fun. I feel like I'm honoring Sonder and how much he loved those guys, and just the amount of positivity that they bring just enlightens me to always strive to be positive, and it's just an awesome opportunity that I'm so happy to be a part of.
The magic of hearing the Three Strings Band play live is beyond words, I think would be the best way to explain it. Often many tears of joy and elation, tremendous excitement about how can I do that, how can I learn how to do that, how can I become a part of it. And one of the things that we want to create is a fund for band students who need some financial assistance to get to different locations, so we can be seen and experienced in person. We will be creating a foundation in honor of Sonder Strong and making a way for anyone that has someone that they would like to celebrate be able to express that on our website and do a tribute to them and make a donation in Sonder's name to our travel fund.
Buddy, thanks for coming. See ya. Bye. All right.
All my dreams are falling on my feet, and my heart is learning to skip beats. It might be scary, but I'll keep going along. You never know what you find when you open the door. It might not be right, but at least you know how I feel like I'm having my way. Oh, I feel like I'm having a good day. If you only thought take my color of today. Color of today. What color of today? Now I'm here, I made it and it's true. No longer say my cards come nice. It might be scary, but I'll keep going along. You never know what you want when you open the door. It might not be right, but at least you know. I feel like I'm having my way. I feel like I'm finding a good day. It's real on this hard day. My color of today. Color of today. What color of today? I feel like I'm finding my way. of the day.